Welcome Princeps, and we are back to finish off the Legio Walks videos. Post-event now, the aftermath. It's a couple of weeks after, because we've had jobs and wives and stuff to attend to. So we're going to get into it. Steve's joining me.
Hello, I've managed to reintegrate myself back into civilised society just about after the weekend.
It was good, wasn't it?
It was great.
Yeah, it was good. Well, yeah. So it was G-Dub's, as you've seen if you've watched the first video. G-Dub's first Titanicus weekender. So it was very important to us that we went for this. Very much would look forward to going to a second one. I think it will be a lot better, as first events always have. Well, they're first events, aren't they? There's stuff that you can learn from, but we'll go into that in the final thoughts, I think. So basically, we're going to run through the missions we played, because it was a narrative-themed event, and how our games went, who we played, those that wish to be named, and how we got on, and then we'll sort of summarise, really. So, Game 1 of the Legio Walks, Mission 1, Descent of Traitors. So the whole thing's set in the Ultramar worlds with a traitor invasion. The traitors make landfall, so on. And but the first mission was basically kill, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, it was just like a kill point sort of game, and you added up the total of points. And it was really win or lose, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well. We'll draw.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was more just, let's throw some Titans down and kill each other.
Yeah, get things going. So that was absolutely fine. So the gist of the whole thing was that after every mission you would have a loyalist or traitor victory, and then that would decide the next game being played. So, which is quite relevant, really.
Yeah, and there were bonuses or negatives to the winning or losing side for the following game. So yeah, it was really just setting the scene, this game.
Yeah, so it's 1,000 points, and it was kill. The deployment zone, 12 inches.
Yeah.
That is a big deployment zone.
It was. Things got real quick.
Yeah, and that was quite a common theme over the weekend. And that's something we'll talk about a bit more perhaps at the end. Okay, so game 1, 1,000 points, kill. How'd you get on, Steve?
Yeah, well, I played Michael, really nice guy. He was using my old nemesis, the Mortis. I believe he had a Venator Maniple, a couple of Warhounds, a couple of Reavers, and I think he had some Knights, as I recall. And that was a great game. I did manage to pull out the victory on that one, mainly due to some poor luck on Michael's part, involving a Titan that went down. I think it was Reaver went down, and turned around, wildfired his Knights off the board, pretty much. But I should probably talk about my 1k list quickly, shouldn't I? So,
yeah, because you weren't on the Steve. So I did the video telling you exactly what I was taking and why, and you haven't got a clue what Steve had. So
so I took my trusty even Gryphonicus Legio. In my 1k I had a Lupercal Maniple, which basically consisted of 4 Warhounds, 2 with Turbo Laser Destructors ×2, and 2 with Plasma Gun and Mega Bolters ×2. And one a Caster's Porphyrian Knight,
yes.
who was more of a fear factor than anything. Particularly in this game with Michael, he didn't really do a great deal. Michael's did dedicate a prodigious amount of fire to trying to silence him, though, which I think helped me in the end, because my Warhounds do their work. So yeah, great game. As I say, it was just a little bit unlucky on Michael's part with some of his rolls. Could have gone either way at one point, but we were very close, as Chris alluded to, with the deployment. So having Warhounds that could move that quick, pop around the place, pop out of nowhere, get around the sides of the Reaver in particular was very good. So yeah, great game, and a victory for Gryphonicus.
Okay, so a little bit more prepared than Steve.
That's not true. Alright, that's a bit true.
I was massively more prepared than Steve. So I actually took photos of my games and my opponent's stuff.
I was just too excited. I was too excited. But it was everything I saw was Peyton's. We'll come on to that later. But the Peyton stat was massively high.
So my first game if I can actually open my pictures. Okay, so the professional outfit that we are. So my first game was against Graham Sanders, which is a name that we've batted around because he wrote that really cool rules pack that's been floating around, and we used the percentage chart for the killing
in our last game.
In our last game,
Yeah.
which we will use. Engage and destroy chart. We'll be using that in a lot of games. Actually, it's very good. It's very simple. It's very good, and it's in my opinion, it's better than the one on the card. So I was lucky enough to meet Graham, and he was a really nice guy, and we motored for our game at quite a pace. So we even stopped halfway through to get a beer, which was awesome. And this was, I started drinking pretty much as soon as the bar opened, which was the theme of the day for me. So yeah, he had 1,000 points on the nose. He had his own Legio, the lovely lightning kind of style. Legio Eldingar, and counts as Volcanum. So he had a Ferox Light Maniple, which was 2 Reavers and 2 Warhounds. And when I saw this, and when he put them on the table, it's very curious because he had Gatling blasters galore on his Reavers and Vulcan Megabolters on his Hounds, and he only had 2 turbo lasers. So wonderful shield stripping abilities, but not much in the way of heavy hitting. Now I think, well, you can probably get around that being a Ferox if you're going to be super aggressive, get inside voids, getting the +1 to your damage rolls, but still very interesting. So in comparison to my, what did I have? I had a Venator Light, so I had 2 Warhounds with Vulcan guns and plasmas, so already I've got high strength weapons. I've got one with turbo lasers with War Martyr's Beneficence, and then my Reavers got a melter cannon, a Gatling blaster and a turbo laser. So I had in my opinion, more of a mix of stripping and heavy hitting weapons. So the bit that almost flummoxed me a bit more was the deployment. Graham separated his units into 2 forces. He had his Reavers working together, and he had his Warhounds in a squadron, and I had my Warhounds with the plasma guns as a squadron as well. And he kind of deployed them so far apart and the deployment was so far up, that I basically just swung everything at the 2 Warhounds, and I thought, if I can get them, then I've got stuff left, then I'll move in on the Reavers, and proceeded to do so. You can probably see there, I think that was Graham's first Void Shield saves, which he failed to push. Steve's got a phone call. Back in a second. So which he failed to push and rolled 3 1s. So the game started quite well for me. He did come at me quite hard with the Warhounds. I did make a flanking move to cover the Reavers. I thought my Warhounds would be more than enough. But then I just pushed on them and I managed to take them out. At this point I'd taken no damage at all. All those shield stripping weapons, I was probably losing voids but doing no damage really. So once I got rid of the Warhounds, I just managed to push on and encircled those Reavers. I did lose 1 Hound. I used Blind Barrage to stop 1 Reaver shooting effectively for a turn, and I did Bloodlust just to cover myself in case he came in really close to me as well. But yeah, I managed to take out one of the Reavers, which I think just stood stationary, which left him with 1 Reaver, and I had pretty much my whole mana pool. So it worked out for me, if I can find my scores. See, because again we are that professional, looking through my notes. Steve's back, everyone.
Sorry guys, that was the Emperor calling. Got to answer that kind of call.
So it was a 15-0 victory to the traitors, and that was our game 1. So on the whole, at the end of mission 1, it was a loyalist victory.
Certainly was.
So this was going to affect game 2. Okay, so game 2, break them open, and it was a loyalist victory. So the missions, you'd get victory benefits if you're on the winning side. So the objective for this game, the traitors basically had to start on one side of the board, head down, arse up, and get off the other side of the board.
Yeah.
The benefits, if the traitor faction won, was they get a 15-inch deployment. That didn't happen. The loyalist faction was victorious. They get to issue orders to their titans in the first round without taking command checks. Now that's pretty big, bear in mind. They're going to defend their back line. They aren't really going to move.
No.
You're really looking at first fire orders across the board, aren't you? And you just got to take it. This was 1,500 points. The traitors had a 12-inch deployment zone. And that was it. So reinforcements as well, end of each round. Okay, so the loyalist player rolls a d6 for reserves. Yeah. Oh, they scrapped that, didn't they?
Yeah, there was a caveat to that. At the last minute they scrapped that.
Yeah, so the reinforcement section, I thought that was weird because I thought, don't remember that happening. Okay. So the reinforcement section, they binned that, they made an announcement before. So it was literally running off the board, and the traitor players were going to score points for getting stuff off, and the loyalist players were going to score points for stuff that didn't. How'd it go, Steve?
Right, yeah, so game 2. So I 1,500 point list, I'll quickly run through that. So I took a Corsair mana pool for this one. So I took a Princeps with the Favoured by Fortune trait. He was a Reaver, obviously, with APOC missile launchers ×2 Volcano Cannon, which did bite me in the bum for the heat. Second Reaver had a Gatling Blaster, Chain Fist, Vulcan Mega Bolter. Third one, Gatling Blaster, Chain Fist, Turbo Laser. But I took a squadron of 2 Warhounds, both with double Vulcan Mega Bottles for stripping them shields. And then I managed to sneak a cheeky 2-squad Acastus Knight.
Steve was loving his Acastus.
Yeah.
I didn't take any.
No. So how did it go for me? Well, I played Dan. Dan was using Legio Volpa list. Really cool conversions. I wish I'd taken the pictures. He'd done them up very much like sort of like the Titan Death sort of end of book, you know, with all like the Bane Lord stuff. He'd use bits from some 40k kits to make them look really cool. So there was I think it was the I think he had an Axiom or a Murmur anyway. There was a lot of big warlords on the table, so I thought it was going to go reasonably well, being as the scenario required him to get off the board, and they were quite lumbering. He also had a couple of Reavers, which is a lot of work. I think overall in this game, I think as I understand it, it was pretty much a dramatic win for the loyalist. Apart from 2 players who lost this game.
What, on the loyalist side?
Yeah, and I was one of them.
Oh, right.
Because Dan ploughed through with the Volpa, played an absolute blinder with the Reavers, drew me out a little bit, and before I knew it, I had a massive Warlord Titan sort of 4 inches from the board. That guy was not going anywhere. I'd done a fair bit of damage to it, but he managed to get off the board. And because of the prodigious size of it, I think, as I understand it, Christy, as I recall, the bigger the sort of amount of points you got off the board, the bigger your overall victory points was. So getting a Warlord off the board for him was huge. I did take out a couple of Reavers, and my casters did some work, but I mean overall throughout the whole tournament, really, they stripped a few shields, but they didn't, do what casters often do and one-shot things.
So you lost your game.
I lost that game.
And there was only 2 loyalist players out of 30 odd.
I might be incorrect in that, but I did overhear that. Yeah.
That was the way it went. Because the only other loyalist player that I think lost this game was against a Knight household that was literally, full striding, the 12-inch deployment, and then, Cerastus doing 24-inch full strides.
And I mean, it was close towards the end. But and I think it went for the full 5 turns this one. Dan getting that Warlord off just sealed the deal for him, really.
Okay, all done.
All done.
Okay, so my game 2, I'm doing it from the traitor side, and I thought, okay, how am I going to do this? But firstly, so my player didn't want to be named. That's fine, wanted to remain anonymous, so we refer to him as Player X. Was a really nice guy though.
Mr. X.
Mr. X had these wonderful people that were there all recognised it. Had these wonderful explosion templates with the
they were amazing.
Fantastic, the flickering lights
LEDs
and the LED. Yeah, it's just wonderful, really, really good. They were quite prevalent in this game. So he had Legio Invicta, which was a homebrew legion and had no traits. So he was clocking an extra 2 stratagem points against me, which is absolutely sound. I think it is well worth doing. Had an Axiom mana pool, the Warlord, a Reaver. See, the Warlord had missile launchers, Bellicosa, and a Quake. Good build. A Reaver with Apocalypse, Volcano, and Laser. Another Reaver with Turbo Laser, Gatling, and Melter. It's my favourite build. Warhound with double Vulcan and some Lancers to them. So that was the list, and basically set up on the back line waiting for me. So I set up and I can't remember who got the first turn, but I thought, right, I'm probably not going to do a lot of shooting here. I had my Axiom list and I thought I'm just going to run. I'm just going to run at him, not going to shoot. So I played Warlust and I kept another strat in the bag. I could have done the Mortis one where you can move, but I thought I'll do Warlust for the extra movement and I'll keep a point for something else. And in the first turn I managed to I got a full stride on my Warlord and the Cerastus maybe. I failed the full stride on the Reaver, and then he played Sabotage on my full striding Warlord and I rolled shutdown orders. So I dropped my voids and I just stood there like a chump. And the whole plan was kind of having everything moving as fast as they could for target saturation. And in the first turn that just went horribly wrong. And I just thought, I mean, I couldn't even shoot with it, so there was no point in me really trying to continue with that plan. And he just picked me off bit by bit. I didn't get the full strides I wanted. I had the shutdown orders, and you can see there I just exploded gloriously. And in the end,
but you did at least get to use the glorious explosions.
They were awesome, weren't they? They were absolutely awesome. I mean, they were great. I got that one Reaver off the board. So this game lasted 3 turns. I think my first game lasted 3 turns. And that was a 20-5 to the Loyalist defeat. Yeah, maybe I should have fought and played the long game. Would probably have been better, but if I'd got what I wanted in the first turn, it might not have been so bad. But yeah, I got absolutely spanked. Really nice guy anyway. It was good fun. We both laughed at all the explosions, and yeah, that was my game 2. Got smashed. Okay, game 3, going on the back of another Loyalist victory. Make them bleed. 1500 points again. So we would have had exactly the same list as last time. I had an Axiom. How's your game go, Steve?
Well, I played Zach in this game. He was using Volcanum. Tomato. And he had a Regia mana pool, so he had 2 Warlords and 2 Hounds, and he had squadroned both of them. So he had a Hound and a Warlord. That's part of the Volcanum rules.
Well, they don't squadron. They just share shields.
They share shields. Sorry, that was it. Yeah. So he was doing that. So the idea behind this game, of course, was we had to pick 3 kills as the Loyalist. One of which had to be the Princeps. So one of the Princeps, one of the Warlords was his Princeps. So I had to pick that. And obviously, the other 2 I picked were the Hounds. Yeah. So this game was dominated by a very large sort of piece of building scenery that was on top of a hill towards one flank, and that seems to be where we congregated both of our mana pools. And initially, very cagey. It was basically a game where both Zach and I ran around the board, around this piece of scenery, trying to get an arc on one another. And he brought his hounds forward. I did manage, after losing a Reaver, to take out both the hounds. But I didn't manage, as I recall, to kill the Princeps. Plus he had that strafing run thing that kept taking them out.
Yeah.
It was really good. And the Acastas did nada during this entire game. They were moving to get lines of sight all the time. They couldn't put them on first fire or split fire orders to give them the bonuses. So the few times they managed to get a go, they were missing, really. So because of the way the mission works, coupled with a couple of stratagems, it actually ended up being a draw.
Did it?
Which was very unusual. But I think both Zach and I agreed that it was a great game, and it was probably about as well as it could have. It's kind of an ending we would have liked, because both of us felt that it had a back and forth. He was on top, I was on top. And actually, it was such a great game, great guys, and we had to give a most valuable player or what's the word, more of a best game.
Yeah, best game.
Best game.
Vote.
Two
Favourite game.
Favourite game.
Yeah.
Yeah, two. Zach got my first vote for this particular game, last game of the day. It was really good, really good fun.
Cool. Steady draw then.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're what? 1 win, 1 loss, 1 draw.
Yeah, I've got a tick in every box for them.
Okay. Okay. So my game 3 from the traitor side. So I played a guy called Casper. He was a really nice guy. We had a beer as well, which is always good. He had a lovely looking metallic blue Legio, the Paragons of Eternity, and he's written some fluff, and I'm hoping, because we're recording this before I put any pictures together, so hopefully I'll get that showing now, roughly. Okay, so yeah, really nice guy, really good fun. He knew his stuff, which was good, because at this point I was absolutely hammered. I was drunk. I was really drunk, and that was fine. So I did apologise to him straight away for being hammered. He didn't care, but the best thing was he could kind of lead the game if there's anything I was doing that was ridiculous because I was drunk. So he had picked, obviously he had to pick my Princeps, which was my Warlord, and I was not drunk enough to stick it in a corner with a good firing arc and be able to give it the shield generator thing. So then that would try and keep him alive for as long as possible. We did have this massive bit of line of sight blocking terrain, even the hole in the middle counted as blocking. If I knew what I was doing, I could have just, mind you, it wasn't that much, other than that, there wasn't that much else to hide behind. I could have, he picked my Warhounds, and I didn't really think about it much, but I was just super aggressive, and I just thought, well, kill or be killed, and went for it. And do you know what? I was absolutely petrified of the 3 hounds he had as a squadron because of the amount of firepower they could provide, but I actually managed to get on top of them pretty quick and take them out. And my knights that I kept sort of held back in reserve, they did some great flanking moves. He took my Reaver out so quickly, and he threw down the stratagem something kill for 5 points straight away.
Oh, if you kill,
yeah, quick kill.
Quick kill.
He threw that down, and I was like, oh, okay. So he did that. So he had 5 points off the bat, and he hadn't even started on his chosen targets. I mean, that was an extra target. So so we managed that, and so we just battered each other really for several turns. And I actually got the upper hand, managed to get rid of those Warhounds, managed to flank his Warlord, and I think we got into 3 turns, maybe 4, I can't remember, it was 5 round games, and at this point he only had a Warhound left with a set of Cerastus that was just about to pounce on it, and he said, I've won. And I went, And he went, I've won the game. Have you? Bear in mind I am drunk. And he went, yeah, well, I've got 5 points for that, and I've killed you 2 Warhounds, so that's 25 points. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. He goes, do you want to go have a beer? Yes. So we had a chat, we had a beer. He was a really nice guy. The game was actually a lot of fun because it was, again, so much killing. I can't be doing with this hiding Titan malarkey. It's not really for me. But yeah, it was good. It was a clear victory for the loyalists. It was a moral victory for the traitors. It was a lot of fun. That was game 3.
That was day one.
And that was day one. What did you do after? I carried on getting more drunker. Pub quiz.
Pub quiz.
Pub quiz. You and Jeff were working really hard to score points on the pub quiz, while the rest of us just chatted crap and got drunk. Then went to another pub.
Yes.
Had another beer.
I had to drive you home, didn't I?
You had to drive me home. And got up for day 2, fresh as a daisy.
Cool. Not sure about that.
Okay, so going into day 2, only 2 games to play. These were both 2K, weren't they?
They were.
Both 2K. Okay, so mission 4, wreck the artillery. So the benefit for this would have been, so this was, it had 4 objective tokens placed in effectively like a diamond, I suppose, wasn't it?
Yeah, more or less. It was hard to get them in any other.
Yeah, and each one represented like an artillery emplacement, which the traitors had to destroy. If the traitor faction was victorious, we could have picked weapons to fire before the game starts, basically. So that didn't happen. Loyalist was victorious. The objective tokens are deployed as described below. Then the traitor deploys their units. The loyalist player then deploys units within 12 inches of the centre of the board. So I don't really get what the difference was there.
Yeah.
I mean, basically the loyalist was in the middle. They were surrounded, and the traitors deployed on all the edges if they wished around them. And it was danger close, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was danger close.
Very much so.
Deployment. 5 rounds, and you basically were scoring points for destroying artillery emplacements, capturing them and destroying them. So
you could walk over them, or you could end the phase.
End the phase, and you took one out, and there was 4 of them. So how'd you go?
Right, well, I should probably quickly summarise my 2K list I took for this game.
Yeah.
So I took 2 Venator light maniples. So my Princeps in the first maniple was the Reaver with a Vulcan Mega Boulder, a Chain Fist and Gatling Blaster. He had the Reckless Maverick trait. The plan for him was just to go nuts and run forward and punch things. Then I took a Warhound with Plasma Gun, Vulcan Mega Boulder, and another one with 2 Turbo Lasers. The second Venator maniple had a Favored by Fortune, same guy as before really, with 2 Volcano Cannons and a Pump Muscle Launcher. That was the Reaver. Then I had 2 Warhounds again with 2 Turbo Laser Destructors, Plasma Gun, Mega Boulder. And I topped it off with a support Warlord Titan with a Bellicoser, a Quake Cannon and APOC launchers. So I played Matt in this game. Now Matt had joined us for day 2. He wasn't able to make day 1. And I think he was having to fill in for a traitor player.
He did.
Yeah, so he actually had, as pictures will attest to, a stunningly painted Gryphonicus Maniple Legio, which kind
Splinter.
of... Splinter Legio. Clearly the traitor is in our midst. Clearly had ambushed us in a very despicable, traitorous way. I, as the mission suggested, obviously set up as the loyalist in this game in the centre, and it was over real quick.
I think this was a common theme.
Yeah, so I don't think Matt even really had much to do with the artillery objectives. I think he just absolutely smashed me. The Reavers went down real quick. I think I lost a Titan in the first, a Reaver in the first sort of exchange of fire, really. And that's all I can really remember. I was massively under-caffeinated at that point as well, which didn't help matters. But I'm sure Matt will agree. My luck was pretty dire. Not that you can blame all on that. But it did seem very much like the odds were against us. And that was fine, because, we had our way up to that point, us loyalists, for the tournament. But over real quick. I went and introduced caffeine into my life pretty quick.
What, 3 turns?
2 turns.
2 turns, yeah. Short games was quite a common thing.
It was very pretty to look at.
Yeah, yeah. Very common themes with the games, mostly, as far as I'm aware. I know mine was certainly short, which is unusual for AT.
Yeah, I don't think we haven't really even added up the points. I think I just, at the end of turn 2, I had 1 Titan left who was in a bit of a bad way, so we just called it there.
That's fair enough. My game, I played Damien, and I think it went a lot the way yours did, and it was despite the loyalist victories, this game was heavily in favour of the traitors, and I don't know if they'd done that because of the way day one went or whatever.
Tweaked it, you mean,
a
on
little bit
day
of feel
two?
goodsies for the traitors,
Maybe.
I don't know, but anyway. So Damien, bless him, he was in the middle, and he had his Legio Sargasso, which was his own, and using the Fortidus rules. He had a Ferox light mana pool, so super aggressive, with a support warlord by the looks of it. And I also had a Ferox light mana pool with warlord support, except mine was the Titan of Legend, the Penumbral Reaper, which was just loving this game. It was all over it, because you can probably see from my stills how close we were. And I had to apologise to Damien, and he was a real nice guy, but I was an absolute turd. And I had the dominant strategist trait, and after the back of getting smashed twice, I was like, mate, I'm going to go first. And he was like, okay, yeah, fine. And then proceeded to charge with my warlord and rip the head off a Reaver. I don't really know what he was supposed to do. He did charge and get in with his Reaver, but it was just no match for the Reaper. I think his Reaver actually crashed into the Warhound next to it, which proceeded to explode. He gunned for my Warhound squadron with a single Reaver. I just kind of dodged out the way and picked on it. I had two horrendously dangerous close combat Ferox Reavers gunning in on his warlord, and then in the end we just had this almighty car park, and I just decimated his titans in 2 turns. I took out 3 of the artillery things on the way, and I think this was like 2 turns, and he had 1 Reaver left, and he said, do you want to call it there? And I said, yeah, I'm really sorry. I think the worst thing that happened to me was the Penumbral Reaper had all its weapons disabled, but being the psychopath that it is, was quite happy to headbutt its way and kick and stomp across the battlefield.
Didn't need them.
And didn't need them, yeah. So I don't think I lost a unit at all.
I don't think Matt did, actually, as I recall. I think he had some damage on one of his titans, and that was about it.
Yeah, so not a great game for Damien. I did feel sorry for him. I think we'll talk about it at the end, but I think when you come to these things and you're meeting people you don't know, I think everyone wants a fair crack at the whip. And
yeah, this is again, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah,
I think this is the only game I thought was a little bit, scenario-wise, it's a little bit off.
Okay, it was the most skewed one. It wasn't a really good example of what AT can be. It was just so completely skewed, and yeah, I think people were just milling around the bar with hours to kill for game 5. So that was game 4. Okay, mission 5, the last one, death to all traitors. Now it's got at the top here, loyalist victory. I'm pretty sure it was a traitor victory total.
Yeah.
And there is a special rules and victory benefits for this, but we actually had copies of alternative missions for a traitor victory.
But that's the one we were given.
But this is the one we were given. This is the one we played.
But we were told it was a traitor victory.
But we were told it was a traitor victory. So the victory benefits skewed. It wasn't really that big a deal, was it?
It was just a 4+ to bring back a Titan for the loyalist, rather than the 3+. Really, that was the.
Yeah. So this game basically was literally kill traitors and survive if you're a traitor. So running away again.
Similar to the game 1. I mean.
Well, game 1 was kill and kill. This was try and survive, which not my kind of game really. But it was 2K, and basically the loyalists would score points for units killed, and the traitors would score points for units alive, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, how much the traitor battle group has been destroyed. So the Loyalists had the advantage of bringing back destroyed Titans as reinforcements. And because the Traitors won the last game, it was bringing back dead stuff on a 4+ in the end phase. Pretty much right? Is that,
Yeah.
I guess right, okay. So you can read it on the screen for yourself and see if we're wrong. So that's the way the game went. 2,000 points. Steve, how'd it go?
Well, I played James. James, I'm sorry, mate, but I forget what Legio you had. It was purple in colour. It was very nicely painted. James had another Regia Maniple, quite a popular one I found throughout the tournament. And he also had some supporting Warhounds, Reavers in his list as well. James took the opportunity to play both Scatterball Mines and Strafe and Run on me.
Oh, Scatterable
which
Mines.
I can't blame him for. Which impeded me a little bit, but I eventually managed to get one of my Venator Maniples around to his flank on the right hand side to take out one of his Warlords. And I played Sabotage on it in turn 2 and put it onto full stride orders, so I pulled it towards me into the minefield, ironically. And then I was able to...
Well, but he wouldn't have to move.
No, he didn't, but he couldn't do anything else. Right. He couldn't fire. And it basically allowed him to... it meant that he was isolated slightly more, and I managed to pick it out and take it out. And also, the only time I ever got off the opportunistic sort of shot from the Venator
yep.
from the entire tournament. But between the mines and stuff, I did lose a couple of Titans, and I managed, mainly the Warhounds, because I didn't like being hit in the legs today. I managed to get one back, which didn't really make a great difference, and I managed to utterly fail my rolls to bring back a Reaver and a Warlord.
So you didn't bring anything back at all?
I brought one Warhound back.
Yeah.
Yeah, but by the time he came back on, it was like turn 5, and he wasn't really in a position to do much.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, what James did is put one Warhound and Warlord in one corner, and the other corner he did the same, with the Reavers kind of in between.
Mm-hmm.
So one of those ones I was not getting to because of the way the terrain and everything else was. So I concentrated on killing the one Warlord, the one Hound he had, and a couple of Reavers on the other flank. And yeah, that's exactly what happened. He, despite all the little hits I was taking from his Strafe and Run and Mines, I did manage to bring down the Warlord, like I said, and eventually take out the 2 Reavers on that flank. So he was just left at that point with a Knight, I think, one Knight running around, and the one Warden and one Hound. So that was a pretty full point sort of maximum
Max
victory
score
for me at that
25
point.
nil.
Yeah. Lovely guy, really chilled, great game. Went the whole 6 turns that one. And again, James got my second vote for we had to pick a second person for our best game, and that's definitely got it because it was just fun. I mean, looking back at it, again, we'll go over it in our final thoughts. There was a way I think that as the traitor you could have won this game, but we'll discuss that.
On the after thoughts. Okay. Final thoughts.
Why don't you do your game first, mate?
So my game was against Dan, who is a Haven't Wargamers member, and we've played each other a couple of times. So I said to him, I'm quite glad about that because it was game 5 from a long weekend, a long day, and I knew it would be fine and it was casual and I didn't have to be too polite. So that was good for me. And I knew I was going to have a good game, and it was a good game. Dan has Palladus Moor, Warmongers, using the traits. He had a Ferox Light Maniple, 2 Reavers. Oh, hang on, what we got here? He had a Ferox Light Reaver and 2 Warhounds, and he had a Fortis with a Reaver, and a Warlord. Trying to work out his list here in front of me, and a Corsair. That's got to be his 1500. I'm reading the wrong thing. Have I even got his 2K in front of me?
More to say.
I have, yes, top, yeah. So it's a Ferox with a Reaver and 2 Warhounds, and a Fortis with 2 Reavers and a Warlord. Okay, so that was his list. Just got there in the end. And the game was he had to kill me and I had to survive. Now, I've got a 2,000 point Ferox Maniple with a close combat orientated support Warlord. I'm really not going to be hanging around in the backfield. It would have been incredibly dull. So Dan's whole setup is a more static. He's half his army is more of a static gun line, and he's got the little ferox bit to reach out and get us. I had a 16-inch deployment zone, Dan had a 12, so we could start really close. So Dan was getting reinforcements as well. So we had, what, 6 Titans each? And if you can see on the picture, there's that line of sight blocking bit. I could have gone right down in the far right corner with absolutely everything. And just sat there for the game. You got to come to me. And it's just not Titanicus. So my thoughts were the best kind of defence is all out attack, and for a point it nearly worked.
Very Mortis of you.
It was very Mortis, very arrogant.
Yeah.
Very arrogant indeed. So he pushed up with his ferox as I expected, and I just kind of pushed up. I did have my Rees out on the flank in case he went the other side to cover all bases, and my initial thoughts were just go for that. Just go for his ferox stuff. So everything went one side or the other from that terrain. Go for that and then see what's left. And that was fine. And what was funny was Dan failed a machine spirit check for his warlord. So he had his merging shields line out. And because I think he was using the Fortidus rules. Anyway, so he had his Fortis group, and he was merging shields with the Reavers and the Warlord, and he had a shield generator. He failed that check, and his Warlord just bimbled out several inches and broke his shield line, which was good for me, and it kind of gave me an opening to do something quite mental. So I basically ploughed on. He was firing shots at me. I put blind barrage on his gun-toting Warlord, which did form its line in the end. And yeah, I just got stuck into his ferox stuff coming at me, and I managed to take that out piecemeal. And then I was kind of up at this point. I hadn't lost anything, and his Titans were getting battered. And I decided to just throw the Penumbral Reaper at his gun line. I just thought all he has to do is make it. If he makes it, he will engine kill a turn with his hitting on 2s with his claw. You get a big old charge. Once the Warlord goes, that's it. And that was fine up until the point that I kept failing full stride orders on the Warlord. I only needed 2+ because of his trait, and I kept rolling 1s, and it was a long slog, but he could not drop my voids. I just kept making save after save after save. And I wiped out that ferox lot, and I had all my Titans left. And I thought, I can do this. I haven't lost anything yet. Dan brought on 2 reinforcements. Okay, this is going to make it harder. And it did. But I killed them as well. And I think at this point, I still hadn't lost any Titans. And it just got to the point where I'd actually started taking damage, and the wheels started falling off really. And some of my explosions, some of his explosions, I think killed some of mine. And this actually went full 6 turns as well. So Dan we both started with 6 Titans. He brought 2 back. I ended up tabling Dan plus his reinforcements. But at this point, I only had 2 Titans left at the end of the game, so it was quite a monumental victory for the Loyalists. It was a 25 defeat for me, but I had 8 engine kills. I had 8 engine kills, and I'm pretty sure
you won the war.
Yeah, I lost 2 of mine probably from explosions, being ferox and doing most of my dirty work up close and personal. And yeah, so it went 6 turns. At the end of 6 turns, you can see there, I literally just had a Warhound and a Reaver left. The field was mine. I lost 4 Titans. I'd killed 8, but it was a victory to the Loyalists. But I was very satisfied. It was a very enjoyable game. There was lots of very interesting dice rolls. Dan's a solid guy. It was a lot of fun. So I thank him for that. I actually voted down for my favourite game, mainly because it actually went 6 turns, so it was a real game. And then I think Casper got my other one because he was a really nice guy and I was really drunk. So not only did he have to manage the game, he had to put up with a drunk person. So I thought that was fair. So that was my game 5. So I'd won 2, lost 3 in the end.
I'd won 2, lost 2, drawn 1.
So solid, really.
Yeah.
I mean, bear in mind, like I'd lost 2 of my games and tabled my opponents. So play to the mission is probably a lesson, but I was really more interested in the killing, in the pure violence that I could do with my stuff. Okay, so that was game 5. Okay, so that was the weekend. Final thoughts time. I mean, we should probably start with the overall victors of the weekend.
Yes.
Which was...
Quite rightly so. A loyalist victory. Yes.
Yes, it was. Well done, loyalists. I tell you what was funny was when you were the only traitor with your group that goes up and you got to take a photo of them all holding their certificates. Whilst you're sitting there on your own.
Little tear.
The War Master. Anyway, yeah, so it was a loyalist victory. On the whole, the weekend was a lot of fun.
It was great.
It was so good. The atmosphere of the players, the quality of the Legios.
Oh, it was immense. The painting was just really above par. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was the highest standard of stuff at an event I've been to. When they were doing the Legios on parade, I just put mine in the box. No, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. But then people were putting stuff out, not because they thought they were going to win a competition. Everyone was just really proud to be part of this group with all their stuff out. So in the end, all right, I'll want to be part of that, and it was worth it. It was really good. Like out of 60 odd players, there was 30 Legios on that table.
It was fantastic
to look at. And that in itself was nice. It didn't matter if there was a competition. It was just nice having a display of 30-something Legios. And they're all on the video I've released. That's a separate homage to all those Legios and all that hard work. So that was fantastic in itself. It was, the beer was good. The company was good. I actually had a guy message me who was at the Aeronautica event, which was running on the Saturday, and he messaged me just to tell me how good he thought the Titan stuff was and how good he could hear the banter and all that sort of stuff. I mean,
there was a lot of yelling of engine kill.
Yeah, that was quite funny because on the first day it was engine kill, and by game 5 on the last day it was engine kill. I'm knackered. But yeah, the atmosphere and the buzz. I mean, I met so many cool people. Everyone was so chatty. Everyone was so nice. The vibe and the buzz was tip top. So that, firstly, well done to everyone for making it such a fun and friendly event.
Yeah, it's such a great community in Titanic as a community. There were so many great people that I met, not just the people I played against, the people that gave me some really great painting tips. Everyone was very keen to share the love of the hobby. Fantastic.
Yep. The games. What did you think of the games, the missions?
The missions? Well, yeah, it's a narrative event, so I went into it expecting there to be times where my back would be against the wall, or times where I'd be sort of, the guy that's bringing the hurt. And I think on the whole, I think they were very good. Game 4 with the one where we were surrounded, the loyalists, that probably felt the most skewed towards the traitor player. But I think, having said that, I think it probably depended on who went first a lot. Because it was so close to each other that it was over. And I think, I can only speak to the people I've spoken to, but most people's games ended pretty quick. And that's my only real gripe about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I got the problem with the most. I mean, I thought the games were okay, and I get that it's narrative, and we do narrative games on the channel, and I love doing them. But I've never played so many games in Titanicus that by the end of turn 3, everyone's going, well, my games, everyone's going, do you want to call it there? Because it's done. or there was nothing left on the board, or the missions were achieved. Bear in mind, most of them are written to be 5 or 6, and I just thought that's not great. People are paying money to come and play games of Titanicus. They should be playing at least 4 or 5 turns. So part of me's thinking that the games were maybe too skewed. I mean, that one, like you say, game 4, surrounding, it was 2 turns. 2 turns, man. 2,000 point game, 2 turns. So I think there needs to be a lot of work done on. I mean, having a narrative weekender is definitely the way to go for Titanicus. I think that if you're turning up to a table and playing someone that you've never met and you don't know, I think it's quite nice to have a more level playing field, and you can make it narrative and you can have the advantages for the loyalist or traitor, but maybe for an event it needs to be dialed back a little bit, because I think everyone wants to come to the table and play with their toys, and it's no fun for someone in game 4 on the first game of the second day to put their 2,000 points of Titans down, which they've spent months, weeks painting, and play 2 turns, and then the person that's spanked them is standing there looking quite sheepish, a bit embarrassed, and going, "I'm really sorry."
Yeah, that, and it made me go to the store and spend lots of money as well.
Yeah, there
So
is
lots of
that.
time
I
to
mean,
go.
on day 1 I just kept going to the bar, so that wasn't optimal. But yeah, I mean, they were fun. I mean, the deployment zones were so close together. I don't know if they were worried about people running out of time.
I think so. I think it seemed to be wanting to get the games done and over with. They didn't want games to go to 6 turns and people still
I mean, they've obviously put a lot of thought into them.
not being engaging.
They had the traitor wins and loyalist wins and what happens and all that, so that's fine. But it's the first weekender. It's a place to start, and that's something that can be improved on. So I don't think it lessened my enjoyment of the whole weekend. But sometimes I was thinking, well, this is finished, and you look up at the clock and there's like an hour and a half left. So I mean, that's 2 more pints. Easy. So yeah, I would have the skewed bits, have the advantages for the victors, but dial it back a bit. And the deployment zones were crazy close.
I think maybe just slightly. I mean, at one point they shout out they wanted to make it an addendum to it to make it even closer, or one of them, wasn't it?
Oh, I can't remember that. If that was on day 1, I'm never going to remember.
Partly. Maybe I might be wrong in that. I might be misremembering that.
Yeah, I mean, leading on, I'm wondering if the deployments were so close because there wasn't a lot of terrain.
Yeah, should we discuss the terrain?
Let's do terrain.
Let's do terrain. So the terrain that they had was, on the whole, nicely painted. I know they had a big push to try and get the boards done for the event. That said, as Chris's pictures would attest to, there wasn't a great deal of it on the individual boards, which I suspect favoured things like Ferox and other mana pools that could get straight in. But having said that, the deployment zone plus the lack of terrain really made Warlords right in your grill real quick, which could be a problem.
Yeah, I mean,
so things were dying really quick.
They were dying really quick. I mean, some of the missions were to just keep stuff alive, and you think, well, I've got nowhere to go. I know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not a very tactical player, especially after a few beers. So there are probably people that will watch this and go, "Oh no, well, if you just done this, you could have done that." And Steve was saying off camera, "Well, you could play that last game, just aim shots and disabled weapons." Valid, but no fun. I mean, I had a Ferox mana pool. I want to get within 2 inches and fire point blank. So yeah, terrain. It didn't affect my enjoyment of the games.
Certainly in one of my games, it was actually having that one piece of terrain when I played against Zach really did sort of dominate the game, which was great because it made a lot of more manoeuvre back into the game. But I felt occasionally maybe that it was a little bit like a turkey shoot, but. So it's only a small gripe.
It's small, is it? I mean, it's not even a gripe. It's just an observation. It's like, at the end of the day, we're breaking down the weekend and telling you what our opinions, what our thoughts on it. It's nothing more than that. The terrain didn't make my enjoyment of the weekend any less. But when I play 18, and a lot of people might feel the same, it's such an immersive game that it was such scatter terrain. It didn't really feel like you were fighting over anything specific. I mean, the problem G-Dub have got is they have buildings and now cranes. So when we play on the channel, we've got loads of third-party stuff. We've got hills, we've got trees, we've got rocks, we've got scratch-built stuff. So we've got that variety. Now, no way is GW going to go out and buy a load of small model trees from a train store, or buy rocks and mountains from
that's a good point, Chris. Yeah, they are limited by what they sell, really.
But on the flip side of that, it is their company with their factory, and if they want to build a city, then they could. I mean, the games people are a dedicated team to do that. I know they work their butts off getting stuff done for it, and so yeah. But yeah, let's hopefully in the next one they think, well, the first one was popular, we probably could have sold more tickets. I mean, on the first day they had Aeronautica, so who's to say that next time they'll put Aeronautica on its own day, and they'll have more. They think, well, we need more tables for Titanicus. Maybe, instead of 60 players, they might have 100. And they think, yeah, second one, third one, we're gonna make this better. We're gonna bang out the terrain.
Events always sell out pretty quickly.
Yeah,
I'm sure they could have, on a different day, but without Aeronautica being on at the same day, they could have done either of those events on their own merit, on their own right, and easily filled up that venue.
Yeah, it could be that they got caught out with the amount of tickets that sold and the need. I don't know, but it's not a criticism. It's just a bit of constructive observation. I like a theme board.
Yeah.
I like having channels of fire and the game's all about facing, so you don't want to have it all your way, just be able to turn willy-nilly and pick the targets you want. But the games were fun anyway for the short turns that they were. I mean, my only game that went the full whack was the last game.
My last game certainly did, and I seem to recall another, at least one other did. But yeah, on the whole, they were finished by sort of turn 4. On average.
Well, maybe. I mean, mine was finished by probably turn 3, and that's easy. So yeah, that's pretty much the main points, isn't it? It was fun. It was good.
Great. Want to do more?
Yeah.
Want to see more?
They did say on the QT, it's not official, but one of the organisers did say to me they are looking at the summer for potentially another one.
And keep your eyes on Warhammer World events.
Yeah, so that may or may not happen, but I think they were so happy with what happened that they're supporting it, they're backing it. Obviously, we had the big releases that weekend as well.
Yep.
We had the Side Titan come out and the Warbringer,
which will be featuring soon, hopefully.
Yeah, we've got stuff we're working on.
Report.
Yeah. Lastly, as well, I'm just going to flick over. So they had the awards at the end. Of the day, so let's give credit where credit's due.
Definitely.
I'm not going to post pictures of the people because I haven't got their permission. I haven't asked them, so we're just going to shout out. So there was Knights of Legend, which was a banner of knights, and that was Rory James. Now he's a writer for GW.
Yes.
I had a quick chat with him. He's a really nice guy. He's super enthusiastic about it. Had these beautiful converted. Like Malanax colour night list. Go on the Warhammer World 4 Facebook page for events. They will have all the photos of that officially. So go to that. Plus I did the video with my photos anyway, so that's on a separate video. So we're just going to shout out people here. Scout engine of Legends was Lee Marshall. Lee Marshall's painted about 1 million Legios.
He has. That's no exaggeration.
No, I know he's got probably at least 3.
He's got at least 3, isn't he? He's a great guy. I had an opportunity to have a quick chat with him towards the end of the day. He does a beautiful Solaria Legio, which I managed to pick his brains on how he did it, and actually just. I think it's Forge of Mars. I think he's done a YouTube channel. Yeah, he has. Which actually goes how he made and painted a Solaria, as well as another video. I think he's got an Audax one as well.
Right. So this was actually for his Solaria Warhound, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah. Really nice guy. Fantastic and well deserved.
Battle Engine of Legends. So I have a screenshot, but they didn't put the guy's name. I will try and find out. It was I think it was the silvery silvery gold. They haven't put it up. Second place best loyalist battle group was Lee Marshall.
Was Lee Marshall again with his Celeria?
Full Celeria.
Cannot fault that. That was. I mean, I voted for that. It was fantastic.
First place best loyal battle group was Peter Martin. These were really nice. These were like the bone and red, and they had all the war banners, and they had the really nice, strikingly blue knights.
Yeah, they were fantastic.
They were great. When we're walking around to vote for your favourite,
that was really
that
difficult.
was hard.
That was the most difficult part of the whole weekend.
That was ridiculous.
I had at least 6 that I wanted to vote for, but
Yeah.
you could pick 2, couldn't you? First
Yeah.
and second option.
Second best traitor battle group was Matt with his Gryphonicus.
Evil Gryphonicus.
With
sporting their little evil goatee beards on the hounds there. Not really, but that'd be great. Yeah.
They all had raised eyebrows.
They did, definitely. What could you say? Beautiful, fantastic, well deserved.
Yeah, I mean when you see Matt stuff, when you say Matt, you know what you're going to get. So he got a cheeky, even though he would have probably come as a loyalist.
Yeah.
He was fighting traitor that weekend.
Cheeky traitor Gryphonicus.
And the first best traitor battle group was Rue again with his knight. I don't know if they were Malanax. They were painted Malanax style.
I'm not.
But they were all heavily converted. Yeah,
definitely the colours. Yeah.
Really nice, and he won the traitor battle group.
Well deserved again.
Well deserved. Yeah. Most sporting loyalist player
wasn't me. I don't know.
I haven't got a name.
That was a travesty. I'm joking.
I haven't got a name.
Well, yeah, but it's always great to win that kind of award, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I think that's more prodigious than winning some of the painting awards in many ways.
So that's really weird because I've got all these results from this slides that they put up at the end, and they put most sporting traitor player with no name.
Well, you know you are, sir, and well done.
Yes, well done. You're very sporting. And they got the most sporting traitor player, and they put the name up, which was Rue James.
Rue again, man. What a
clean sweep.
What a weekend he had.
And then the gods of the 500 worlds, and it was the loyalists.
Yay.
Little group photo there of the gang looking very loyal.
Looking loyal to the Emperor. Like he should have been.
Indeed, yes. So I do apologise for those that I don't have names for. Do check them. I don't know if they've posted them yet, but they will be on the Warhammer World events thing. They always post the photos of the winners, so on and so forth. And that was the Legio Walks. So we're going to get back to bat reps. Yay! Over the next however long we can keep going for. We've picked up a little bit. So we're going to get back to bet reps. So we will see you next time for more thrills, more spills, and more engine kills.
You went and did it.